Good evening. Tonight I bring you a paranormal experience from Reddit. This is a true story. On someone's trip home, he encounters a wild animal from the forest, but while this animal initially appeared normal, it proved to be anything but. What happens after haunts him to this day. Author name: O.G. Sieg. Story title: I saw something on my way home from work that scared me half to death. Before I tell you my story, I'm going to give you some context about my drive home from work, the state I live in, and such. This happened about 10 minutes after I left work today, July 4th, 2020. I live in Northeast Ohio, and I got a job about 2 months ago as a process technician at a dairy plant. It pays very good money, considering it's a 34 to 35 mile drive one way. After about 20 or 25 miles, I drive through a wooded area. Nothing too uncommon for me, as where I live in Northeast Ohio, forests are common, and I pretty much lived in one behind my grandma's house growing up. I work 4 p.m. to 4 a.m., and the drive home sucks. Whether it's being tired, hungry, or foggy almost every night, I go the same way every day and night. I was driving my way home. I just left the residential area of my workplace and was going through the forested area. As I said, there's almost fog every night, so I'm on high alert for deer, raccoons, and such critters. It's just like every other drive home so far. I have a podcast on, focusing on the road, thinking of getting either a sausage McMuffin or McGriddle from McDonald's, and sometimes looking off to the side of the road for any eyes reflecting off my headlights. All of a sudden, I see some reflecting eyes. Out of the woods comes a coyote. In my hometown, coyotes aren't too rare. I've seen them by my high school, but had never seen one outside of my hometown, so it surprised me. I start slowing down as it crosses a road, until it turns to my car and sits in the road. It sat about 10 feet from my car. There had been no cars I had seen since leaving the residential area, so I was going to go around it, but I thought it was a little too odd of a thing to happen just to drive away from it. I expected it to just get up and walk away at any given second. This is where I began to get very scared. I honked my horn, and after about 2 or 3 seconds, it smiles at me. I have my brights on, so I can see it perfectly. This coyote had human-shaped teeth. My heart dropped and every hair on my body raised, just as it is now recalling this incident. It lasted about 1 second before sitting up and running into the woods. I sat there in fear for about 5 seconds, before shoving my foot on the pedal and driving away at getaway speeds. I didn't stop to get food because I had, and still have, no appetite. I thought the rest of the ride home about what I saw, once doubting I saw it. But like I said, with my brights on and as close as it was to my car, I saw it clear as day. This coyote had human teeth, and there was no doubt about it. I'm very into the paranormal, and that includes cryptids. Is it possible I ran into a skinwalker or some genetically mutated coyote? I'm a Native American if that counts for anything. It's just so weird typing this out, but I'd love if someone who knew more about these things could help out if they can. I know one thing though, and that's I'm finding a new way to work. Personal thoughts. I've actually had this thought since the lockdown. There's animals moving all over the place where they have never been. I've heard of deer that just wander through towns. I don't know how many stories are true and how wide the effect is, but maybe there's something about this that can explain at least part of it, why the coyote was so unafraid of your car. But it is really strange that he just stood up and smiled directly at your car, with human-like teeth. You know, come to think about it, I've never seen the teeth of a coyote. I'll have to look that up after. But I know I would be freaked out too. Although, I probably wouldn't have lost my appetite. I love food far too much for that.